Let's start the recording again then. I hope everyone's doing good tonight. We have some sumo news before we start the breakdown. First things first is that we have no YouTube video that is going to be all 15 days of Takakeisho because nobody cares about that. So we are going to be, just doing this over here. And let me scrunch this up a little bit so you can see it better. Even though it's already kind of scrunched, so I could just leave it like that. Secondly, we have some sumo news. We have 4 promotions to the 2nd division. Koto Yusho, Shiba, Kitanawaka, and Chiyo Arashi. Shiba has received a new Shikona, Shiden, meaning purple lightning, which is pretty cool. Moving on, we have a list of retired Rikshi. We have Chiyo Otori, Higo Nojo, Higo Arashi, Mito Tsukasa, Toma, and Kitamura. So those are going to be the guys that are leaving us. And then, of course, we just got some news hot off the presses today. Thank you, Rube, for posting this one. The March Basho is going to be in Osaka, and it is going to be at 75% capacity. So it looks like Omicron virus is not going to slow it down that much. January Basho is expected to stay at 50%, but the one further away from Tokyo looks like it's going to be at 75%. So that should be pretty exciting. Alrighty. Let's get rid of that music for now. So, first things second, we are going to be reviewing Takakeisho, this tournament, our Ozeki, the one that many are hoping eventually does become a yokozuna. Yeah, Hokuseiho is demoting. He was injured at the previous tournament. So anyway, Takakeisho is our current Ozeki that is going to be moving up to Ozeki 1 East, and because of his superior record, people were, asking, oh, do you think he could start a yokozuna push? And no, I don't think he can. It's a 13-2 with a loss or 2 losses, and he wasn't close to Terunofuji, who got the 15-0. Like, if it was a 14-1 and his only loss was to Terunofuji, then, debatable. But because he lost twice, I don't think it's going to be a promotion or a chance at the rope of any kind. So, like we did it in the last video, if you're watching on YouTube, or the last stream if you're watching here on Twitch, we are going to take it fight by fight. We're going to watch the fight at full speed first, and then we are going to break it down step by step. And the good thing about an Oshizumo wrestler like Takakeisho is that a lot of their fights are pretty quick. We're not going to get any long ones, and if there aren't any long ones, then it's usually because they mess up, and now they're stalemated. What's up, one who bounces? And thank you for the host, Limon. So let's take this first day, Wakataka Kage versus Takakeisho. Takakeisho simply does his windmill motions, pushing forward, and then when Wakataka Kage gets all the way back, he pulls back, and he lets Wakataka Kage fall flat on his face. So, again, this is going to be pretty simple. Can I play this at half speed? Video. I can change the cropping. Playback. I can't play this at half speed, unfortunately, because it's not on YouTube. Or maybe I can. There might be extra settings somewhere. Nah, it doesn't look like I can. Oh well. So we're not going to be able to play the fights at half speed, but like I said, for Takakeisho, for Abi, for Takanosho, a lot of their matches are going to be pretty quick anyway. So we could just do the best that we can with this, because it's going to be pretty straightforward every single time. We see right off the Tachi here, we have Takakeisho. He gets the good stiff push with both of his arms to push Wakataka Kage up and away from him to create that separation that I was talking about in that Teru no Fuji video. That's all these Oshi guys want to do, is create this separation that you can see right here. And then you can see Takakeisho go for the 1-2 bing bang boom 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 push. Another hand to the chest, push. Wakataka Kage all the way to the edge. And then this is where, and this happens a lot, because Wakataka Kage is at the edge, he's leaning forward to try to counteract the fact that he's getting pushed back up by Takakeisho. So Takakeisho pushing up, he's leaning forward. This gives Takakeisho the idea, okay, time to step back. That way, when Wakataka Kage goes to keep pushing, he is now putting all of that momentum closer to the ground, and he is going to presumably fall over, which is exactly what happens here. Oh, a little bit of artifacting there. But you can see Takakeisho starts taking the step back, another hop back, slap down. Because Wakataka Kage couldn't really keep up. He was constantly held at an arm's length. And now, as Takakeisho is on the tactical retreat, gets the easy slap down. And Wakataka Kage, gives up the loss.
A good recovery for Wakataka, but a good step back and a good slap down.
Excuse my runny nose a little bit. Next match on day 2. We have to go and find it. Shodai was the second to last match. So let's see. Like I said, we don't have the luxury of having all of his matches condensed for us, because he is not the more popular man. Shodai versus Ichinojo. And then we have Onosho and Takakeisho. So this is two, pusher thrusters going head to head against each other. Usually, especially in Takakeisho's case, it comes down to headbutting and headbutting. And I don't remember how it goes against Onosho here, but, we could take a look at the fight full speed.
Onosho and Takakeisho.
And you can see Takakeisho does the same thing he did on day 1. He creates the separation, and instead of taking the step back, he takes those steps forward and gets the push out. So just like against Wakataka Kage, Takakeisho is going to get down, push forward, and you can see those elbows again. Elbows in, pushing up, pushing Onosho back, creating that space. And then just in another moment, there it is, already at an arm's length. Onosho trying to put the hand up and underneath so he could try to slap these arms up and away, but that generally does not work, because you see he even got the slap right on the arm, and Takakeisho recovers by now pushing the arm in, forearm to the chest, and trying to create some more separation by forcing him back with his entire forearm instead of just the slap, to which Onosho now has to retreat, creates the separation again, which gives Takakeisho more room to charge. Onosho kind of jumps the gun and gets red really hard right here, because you could see Onosho trying to jump to the side to avoid Takakeisho's, charge forward, but Takakeisho reads this and he instead follows the jump, which that's some really good sumo sense right there. That's really quick reaction times. So Takakeisho follows the jump to the side, keeps himself square against his opponent right here, square shoulders, square hips, pushing forward, and Onosho already kind of lost a bit of momentum having jumped to the side, so now he's at the edge, and instead of being able to step back, he notices that Onosho is not overcompensating. He is still standing up. He's still standing tall, so instead of taking the step back, Takakeisho opts to keep pushing forward against that, making him lean back and making him fall backwards out of the ring and step back out of the ring. So another quick and easy fight for Takakeisho. Like I said, a lot of these matches are going to be pretty quick and easy. Not too much else going on other than just getting that windmill tsupari where the arms go like boom, 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 pulls it up again, boom, pulls it up again, boom. And you'll notice that a lot with especially someone like Takakeisho, who has damn near mastered his craft. So 2-0 against two not weak opponents, Onosho, although he did look very weak this tournament, and Waka Takakage, who is kind of an all-arounder that is not perfect just yet. So let's skip ahead to that Takakeisho fight. Here we have Takakeisho versus Kiribayama. And again, I don't really remember his fight, so let's watch it full speed. See if we can't get it from what goes on here. But if anything, it's going to be just like the last few fights that we saw. Takakeisho pushing up and forward, getting the distance, and this time he uses that left arm as a club to the back of Kiribayama's head. So in the previous matches, we saw him pushing, and get his man all the way to the edge. But this time, Kiribayama is actually pushing back at him adequately enough that Takakeisho is the one to take the step to the side. So we could see it again. Right off the Tachi-ai. Elbows in. Arms going forward straight to the chest so he could push Kiribayama up, get that separation. And he does. And this is where Kiribayama, he's leaning forward really well too. You can see right up here, he's got a nice curve. He has a good stance from this foot. It's planted. It's not sliding. And he is the one being able to fight back with his Tsupari as well. So what does Takakeisho do here? He gets another really strong arm to the chest, creates the separation, and you can see he throws his right hand to the side like this to shift his shoulders. You can see his shoulders are no longer square to Kiribayama. They're kind of facing us towards the camera. And then this is where he uses the momentum of his shoulder to bring his arm back around and wham. Right in the back of the head, which is a lot of force. Boom. Right to the back. He hops to the side to add even more force to it. And slaps Kiribayama to the ground. Just a really well-placed slap to the back that even if Kiribayama didn't put his hands down, he would have stumbled forward, and then Takakeisho would have had a really good push from the side. So just overall, I kind of do want to see that again. See the placement of the arm on the back.
Takakeisho with a good charge forward.
Boom. And you can see Kiribayama didn't really see that coming. Takakeisho leaps to the side, uses all of that force generated from his arm swinging from all the way back here to almost like a 120-degree angle. That arm coming all the way around straight to Kiribayama's back, and Kiribayama had no choice but to stumble. And then to the ground, hands down. And you could even see it too. If he kept his footing, he would have been like, Takakeisho would have been square to attack him again. But his hands touched down, and that is the easy win for Takakeisho. Next match, day 4
Me and my brother were
for
saying,
Takakeisho is, let's see if we can get there. These are the Maegashira 1. Oh wait, this is the Judio, because my like internet cut out, so he's gonna be in this part. That's Teruno Fuji already.
the Yokozuna upset him. Oshizumo type.
Here we have now Daieisho versus Takakeisho. Another Oshizumo versus Oshizumo. Daieisho nearly beat Teruno Fuji like we saw just the other day in my video. And now we get to see Daieisho Oshizumo versus Takakeisho Oshizumo.
The time is 9. Daieisho down and ready. Takakeisho with a
And once again, you see Takakeisho elbows in, arms pushing forward. You could even see he went to slap down the arms but missed, charged forward again, and then he did the same thing with those shoulders, those arms, clubbing his opponent in the back. This match was a little more drawn out, which is not something we're used to seeing from Takakeisho. He's either win big, lose big, but once again, you can see Daieisho tries to counter his usual attack by going straight for the shoulders instead of going for the low elbows in Tachi Ai and then getting the strong pushback afterwards. Daieisho goes straight for the shoulders to try to pop Takakeisho up like this. So now that Daieisho is the one in control, he has both of those hands up around the face. Takakeisho's arms, you could see they don't really catch anything. His arms were too slow to the Tachi Ai. His hands didn't make it to the chest in time. But, oh, I accidentally left a red. But Takakeisho does manage to create the distance because Daieisho is also, you know, of similar type. Daieisho wants to create the distance as well. He didn't get enough control after that first Tachi Ai, which you can see Takakeisho, his right hand is on the elbow over here of Daieisho. So he's pushing the arm away, which means Daieisho is not going to be able to use that in the way that he would want to. So now they recharge at each other. Takakeisho going low with his entire body and head. Usually he leads with his head. Daieisho, you can see he's already getting stanced up, wants to lead with the arms. Goes for the head-to-head again. And now we can see again, Daieisho does have what I think is better Tsupari angle right here on the chest, whereas the Takakeisho T-Rex arms, they're inside and they're hitting like the stomach, but it's not getting the leverage that he needs compared to the leverage that Daieisho is generating. So I would favor this in Daieisho right now, but because that arm is inside, he's able to move it up and kind of break Daieisho's Tsupari here, because you can see this lower arm being up underneath. He can push Daieisho's arm up and have that slide up uncomfortably away from his face, and then Daieisho once again has to reset, which is what happened in that first go. Daieisho manages this time to get a good left hand, which you can see Takakeisho, his arm is trying to do the same thing he did the first time, where he has that arm bent inside and then tries to push the arm up, but this time Daieisho actually manages to get the hit on the face, but because now he's a little bit too far away, again, has to kind of reset. Takakeisho, oh, apologize for the artifacting there. Takakeisho making the distance, and I do want to go back to see that slap down again, without the artifacting, of course. Takakeisho, you can see he goes to slap the hands down, and it's a complete whiff. Because usually what these guys try to do is the Tsupari are, you know, one after another, boom, boom, boom to the neck. So what Takakeisho tries to do is anticipate it, slap the arms down to block before they get there, but it's a misfire. He fired it way too early, so now instead of blocking it like this, it looks a little bit more like this, you know. The yellow line goes over the purple one because the purple one whiffed. So now Daieisho has a really good opportunity here, but because Takakeisho was leaning so far forward, he doesn't get the best thrust at the face. He can't really manhandle Takakeisho in the way that he wants to. So Takakeisho, once again, using that lower inside T-Rex arm to push those Daieisho arms up. We can see it again. This is going to get lifted up, and I don't have a really good angle on it from here, but that other arm is going to get lifted up. And this is what I would think is like defensive Oshizumo, where you're using your own thrusts to kind of mitigate the damage from your opponent. And it does look like it's working because Takakeisho is the one that's pushing forward here, whereas Daieisho, he's, you know, taking the step back to try to create the distance he needs to go for some good Tsupari, but he can't get the follow-ups that he likes to have. Again, you could see even in this freeze frame, Takakeisho's arms are inside Daieisho's arms, which means Takakeisho has a little bit more control over how he's going to get hit in the face. This time now, Daieisho gets that right hand inside, but again, Takakeisho, arm underneath. So you can see the arm here, arm underneath, grabbing the hand and forcing this arm up and away from him while he continues to walk forward. So it's like a defensive offense, like a shield wall marching forward right now. Takakeisho has put up this defense of just constantly pushing the arms up and away while he is moving forward, which means the offense of Daieisho always needs to take a step back and regroup and to try to go for what he wants. But these blocks from Takakeisho are putting in a lot of effort for him. Again, he goes for the slap down on the arms, but it's another misfire, and he uses the momentum to bounce back up in the chest really quickly. Like you saw that. He went down, and then boom. Now he's going, he bounces back from that momentum, uses it to go straight up into the chest of Daieisho, whereas Daieisho, he did not have enough response time to that. So now Takakeisho gets the good push forward. He's going for the windmill slaps now to the face. Daieisho slaps him to the side, and you can see he is hopping away on the Tawara, but Takakeisho is still firmly planted inside the dohyo. Again, sorry about this weird artifacting. That's just VLC. I can't really help that. But we can see, again, they're going head-to-head. Takakeisho doing the same exact thing again. He has the arm underneath Daieisho's arm. I should go back to using the pink. He has the arm underneath Daieisho's arm to push it up and away from his face in an awkward position. You know, that shield wall is still marching forward. But he managed slapping the arms down and away right here. You can see the angle that it's going to be taking. Daieisho, he does have a nice, good square stance, but like we just saw in the Kiribayama fight, the force that Takakeisho is able to put in these forearms is very strong, and it is more than enough to slap Daieisho down into the side like that. So overall, that was a really interesting match because Takakeisho, he was constantly blocking the other Oshizumo. He was constantly, pushing the arms up and away from his face and up and away from any good attacking points. So even though it looks rough and it looks very offensive, that was defensive Oshizumo. And I know you probably don't think that is a thing, but again, if you want to scroll back, you can use that 2-minute rewind feature on Twitch or just scroll back in the video. Every single one of those thrusts from Daieisho was flaccid because Takakeisho, he kept on getting the force away from his body. Whereas he didn't have that opportunity against someone like Abi, who you will see later on in the tournament. So that was his match, day 4. 4-0 at this point in the tournament, and he's looking very solid. He's not looking, overly fantastic, like, oh my god, he's going to be a Yusho winner, but he is looking very solid. Day 5. I mean, we kind of know how it goes. Let's see, that was Teruno Fuji. This was Shodai. Alright, I lost internet for all of, 5 minutes near the end of the night. Even the computer. Okay. I like that. That's Mitake Umi and Wacky Tacky. I was also losing audio a lot. Let's see. This was Takakeisho versus Myogiryu. I don't really remember this match again, but I can imagine it's just another Takakeisho blast out. Takakeisho, yeah, he just moves forward with superior Tsupari, and it's over before we know it. So once again, elbows down low and inside. We can see actually Myogiryu actually able to get inside with a good Tsupari, but Takakeisho, he's just immovable against some guys. He's got the elbow down, that front leg forward, he's driving it forward. This back leg giving him a lot of good support, and Myogiryu, if you want to compare his legs, they're kind of out wide. They're along the same line, so usually you want your legs kind of staggered like how Takakeisho has it, because that allows you to, be able to stabilize with your back foot and push forward with the other. It's something you learn in football practice. I'll take that from my own experience. It's something you learn in football where you don't want your feet to be like next to each other underneath your body, because then that's just basically one giant pivot. You can see his Myogiryu's feet are square with his hips, and his hips are square with his elbows, so it's kind of like one big straight line, whereas Takakeisho, you can see his legs are staggered, his hips have a little bit of a lean to them, and then his shoulders also kind of lean that way as well. He's leading with his left foot, whereas Myogiryu has both of his feet planted down, which is not where you want to be. And immediately, now Myogiryu gets on the back foot, but this is where Takakeisho hits that inside left to his chest and forces him back. You can see already he's being forced back. He's walking it backwards. Takakeisho with much stronger force up to the chest. Another headbutt, and Myogiryu simply can't withstand any of the charges. He had bad balance from the very beginning, and Takakeisho, because he led with his left foot instead of keeping both feet down and planted, he was able to actually generate some forward momentum. Day 6, I don't remember who he fought.
But I really want to say famously being...
Let's see, that was Sekiwake. That's Terunofuji, Shodai.
Yeah. His favorites is
Sorry, I have to scrub for the matches.
as good as...
Let's see, that's Shodai. And we have Takeda Fuji versus Takakeisho, which Takeda Fuji is, as we know it, like an old veteran and Yotsuzumo specialist. So he wants to get the belt, and generally if he can't grab the belt, then he will lose. Takakeisho, if he gets his belt grabbed, generally he will lose. So what is Takakeisho going to do? He's going to come into this, he's going to charge, elbows in, body down.
How will he deal with...
You can see every single time he leads with his right, that left foot forward, elbows in. Oh, we didn't watch this at full speed. But it's just like the match against Myogiryu. We don't even really need to watch that at full speed.
Fuji already down and ready. How will he deal with time?
Drives with that left foot forward, head down, arm inside, getting the chest, and he just has all of the leverage. Takeda Fuji popped up right off the charge. And, I used to play lineman in football. If you have the guy up underneath your chest like this, and you get stood up like a tree, you're just going to get pushed back. And that's exactly what Takakeisho is doing right now. Takakeisho is the offensive lineman. He's pushing forward. He gets another good, windmill come up and around back to that chest of Takeda Fuji, and he just gets the third round, another good push. What's up, Dark Nightmare? How are you doing?
Takakeisho improving to 6-0, staying right on the heels.
Oh, Leaf rated yellow shots. But yeah, I mean, like I said, a lot of these fights are going to be quick and easy because it's Takakeisho. The Leoception. Yeah, I have to use my own footage in the background here. And so instead of keeping it like this, where it kind of just cuts off a little bit more of the sumo, I decided to just full screen the background. Or maybe I could just do something like this, where it's only the sumo. Alrighty. I'm not gonna put myself on the right. Day 7. What's up, Rob?
Come on now. Rio Maker too.
Let's see, day 7. That was
Where you just stand
Mitake
still
Yumi
and-
Kiribayama. Here we have Takakeisho versus Okino-umi, which, just like the past 2 matches, it's probably going to be more of the same. Leads with the left foot, elbows in, head down, hand to the chest, false start. I don't want to skip ahead because, you know, if you skip ahead 5 seconds, the entire match is probably going to be over.
Takakeisho with a.
He didn't even need to go for the windmills there. He just had a really good push up and underneath the chest. So, you know, I keep saying the word windmill. I'm using that to refer to when the Tsupari goes like 1, and then he pulls his arm up and back and goes for another, and then pulls his arm up and back and goes for another. And that's generally how you want to do it as an Oshizumo wrestler. But this time, Takakeisho just gets right up underneath the armpits and drives it forward. Left leg forward, and he's just walking it forward. Puts his head down into the chest. He sees Okino-umi is sliding, so he doesn't need to keep, you know, following up with his arms. He just has the really good push. So, an easy 7-0 for him.
Another one up, another one down.
Day 8. Couldn't tell you who he fought.
Diaphragm.
A Shodai, though. Takakeisho versus Ichino-jo.
The NFL linebacker.
So once again, Ichino-jo wants to go for the belt. Takakeisho wants to keep him away from the belt. What's Takakeisho gonna do?
Takakeisho.
He's actually getting pushed back off the Tachi-ai a little bit. Ichino-jo fighting Oshizumo to Oshizumo, which I really wouldn't recommend. And then, yeah, Ichino-jo got the hair pull there.
He could get disqualified for that. He grabs the belt now, and Takakeisho.
Ichino-jo in a much better position from this point. But because of that hair pull earlier, really anything could have happened. Takakeisho attempted the trip, but the last time he did that, he got punished by Takayasu. That was a while ago. And this is exactly where Takakeisho does not want to find himself. Takakeisho does not want to be in a long match. He does not want to go for belt grip sumo because that's not anything he's really comfortable with.
Still trying to probe forward, but the longer the match goes, the more likely it is that Ichino-jo is the winner.
Oh yeah, this was the night where I had the hiccups for like 20 hours.
Stalemated in the middle of the ring. Takakeisho doesn't know what to do. Ichino-jo neither.
A part of me is saying like this match is very skippable because of the hair pull, and because nothing that happened in this match largely mattered, but it is still good to break it down. Like, they're just stalemated like this for a little while. Which, like I said, and like I said in the commentary, yes, that is Snorlax. Like I said in the commentary, the longer this match goes, the more likely it is that Ichino-jo wins.
On this, Ichino-jo's left side. Ichino-jo trying to get a little cheeky with it, but Takakeisho putting his hand up underneath the armpit of Ichino-jo.
You can see Takakeisho puts his hand up under the arm of Ichino-jo to try to like deny the ability for Ichino-jo to grab the belt while also having a good position to leverage himself and try to push forward from there. But it's really just nothing doing.
Ichino-jo's still not relenting on that inside right. He has the belt, and he knows that is his win condition. What they do from here.
See if I can skip ahead. I can.
All the way to the.
There we go.
Now he's on the attack.
Ichino-jo gets the double inside grip. Takakeisho, once again, not a Yotsu guy. He doesn't know how to break this grip, so he's just retreating for his life and going for a theatric at the edge. Who's currently the heaviest in sumo? Probably that guy. Probably Ichino-jo right here. But once again, this match does get called back because of the hair pull earlier on, but that doesn't mean we can't break it down. So, where does it go wrong for Takakeisho, and what can he learn from this match so that he doesn't get his belt grabbed? Well, interestingly enough, Ichinojo actually fights fire with fire, and I think the real problem here is that Takakeisho, he does not have enough strength to push such a massive man backwards. So, like, we can see Takakeisho, it's not like he's slow in his approach or anything, but you could see, like I mentioned, he usually leads with that left foot pushing forward. This time, he keeps both of his feet planted, and Ichinojo is the one to make the move forward. And now Takakeisho is on the retreat, so already, this is wildly different from the first 7 wins that he's gotten. He did not lead with that left foot. He is not the one driving forward, and instead he bounces off of Ichinojo. His left hand is not really doing anything from the outside, because if he wanted a grip on the belt, he could easily get it. But that's not what he wants to do. He wants to lean forward, he wants to drive forward, and he wants to push Ichinojo back. But Ichinojo gets this forearm right up here, across the chest, and, you know, around the neck of Takakeisho. So he bounces backwards, but Ichinojo is still in a much better position. He's the one in the center of the ring now. Ichinojo gets a slap to the face, whereas Takakeisho, I think this is where he tries to slap the arms down so he can try to make some room. Because you could see, this arm is attacking the right forearm of Ichinojo, and then this arm is attacking that left forearm. So I think this is where Takakeisho wants to like try to slap the hands away. And now he goes up for the face, but Ichinojo, he is, I mean, just look at his stance. He's got that one leg back, this other leg driving forward. Strong, stiff upper body. Getting this stiff arm to the face right here largely doesn't matter because Takakeisho, both of his feet are on the same line right here. They're not generating that much power. Neither of them are bent. He's just basically just slapping Ichinojo in the face for the hell of it. Dewa Nojo? Oh, wow.
Forward, Ichinojo.
We can see again, separation is being created, and this is exactly where Takakeisho wants to be, but I mean, again, he's not driving forward with his legs. He's not pushing Ichinojo back. If he wanted to try to, you know, get a good charge, he would do what he usually does, head down. You know, his head would be down here, and he would be pushing forward with his arms inside. His leg would be bent while the other one is supporting him from the back. And he would be driving forward like that. But right now, he's kind of caught like a deer in headlights. He's standing up. He doesn't know how to attack Ichinojo. So he just goes for another slap in the face. And now he tries to get down and low, like I said he should. But his head isn't low enough. His legs are still, you know, on that same line down here. So it's, you know, he's not driving this left leg. It's back like this. He's not generating any force. He does manage to start walking forward, though. Now he's driving the legs, but Ichinojo, keeping himself far away from the attack, goes for the face of Takakeisho right there. And now Takakeisho just kind of leaps into his open and welcoming arms for a nice big reunion hug. Takakeisho, it's an awkward position for him because, like I keep mentioning, his legs are now driving. He's, you know, in the driver's seat, but now his upper body is in this odd position of getting caught by Ichinojo. Your highest balls? I don't remember asking. So Ichinojo, he is the one that catches and stops the attack from Takakeisho, even though he's on the retreat. He has kind of the same legs, that right foot forward. He's not driving, though. He's just trying to get a little bit more leverage from that back foot. So in this next step, this is where he gets the slap to the face on Takakeisho, and this is where it happens. Ichinojo grabbing a big fistful of hair, and once I get rid of this and play it, you'll be able to see it even more. And what he's able to generate from this position is just full control over Takakeisho's upper body, which is why grabbing the hair is an illegal move. Because you just exert way too much control over your opponent, and he can't do anything about it. So if Ichinojo doesn't grab the hair here and instead is like attempting a slap down, it's not going to work because Takakeisho is standing upright.
Push it forward.
But you can see big old fistful of hair right here. Ichinojo, at this moment, he is disqualified, but because of a ruling in the past where basically they called the match dead because they thought someone stepped out, which he didn't, and thus he would have been the winner, or maybe not, we don't know, but he was declared the loser even though he was still in the ring and still legal. And so now the rule is if something illegal happens in the ring, they have to wait for the match to be over before they can discuss it. Yeah, I said I didn't ask. An anime character, John Maddening. I mean, yeah, this is the most enjoyable part. Look at this. Wow. Yeah, once again, grabbing this fistful of hair. Now Takakeisho, because he has those hands inside, he can't really generate much. Thank you for the follow, DSA. That's almost like our man Despa. Because Takakeisho, he wants to use these inside hands, and you know, you can't see where his left hand is, but it's probably somewhere in this area. He wants to be able to create the separation again so he can get another good charge in, but because Ichinojo has the hair, he can't create the separation. He's at the whim of Ichinojo, and now, like we could see kind of here, even through the artifacting. Let me just go back a second.
Getting charged forward. Ichinojo
Just remember getting back to that hair part.
Slap though. Takakeisho push it forward.
You can see Takakeisho, he does try to create the separation, and he does, but if Ichinojo didn't grab the hair, he would have had more distance. He would have been able to create a follow-up charge even stronger than what he's about to pull off now. Because at this moment, Takakeisho just leans forward instead of being able to like actually get another step. Because there's a huge difference in, again, you can see how his feet are planted side by side, and if he had this left foot forward, he generates more force to push Ichinojo back. But because he just kind of instead leaned forward into this, he can't generate as much force. Now he can't push Ichinojo back as far as he wants to, and now Ichinojo gets that right hand on the inside. And this, if the hair grab didn't happen and it got to this point naturally, this is where Ichinojo would more or less win the match. Because he grabs the belt of Takakeisho, and we've already gone more than 3 seconds in this match. Takakeisho, he's gassed. He has no energy left. And although Ichinojo can't get a hand on the left side, and for like the next 20-30 seconds, we see them vying for control of this Ichinojo left, this Takakeisho right. Takakeisho is the only thing on his mind is keeping Ichinojo away from the belt. The only thing on Ichinojo's mind is keeping his hand on the belt over here. So we could skip ahead quite a while before anything really happens. And then
you can see their hands underneath the armpit.
Like I said, they're stalemated for something like 30-40 seconds.
Still not Takakeisho.
And finally makes the move right there. You can see, again, both of these men are completely gassed. They're trying to catch their breath, trying to see what they can possibly do. Ichinojo still has the inside right on the belt. Takakeisho, he can't separate himself. He can't generate distance, so he can't generate a good charge again. And, I mean, that is indeed his biggest weakness, is if he gets grabbed on the belt, he's gonna lose. Ichinojo, you can see it right there, like makes a feint to the outside and then grabs the inside. And now Ichinojo, he has the good push. He eventually transfers that left arm outside, but at this point Takakeisho is on the retreat. He's hopping around the ring, trying to find something at the edge, and the only thing he can go for is like a miracle throw, which I wouldn't even say he gets a throw at the edge. All Ichinojo really has to do is just like not step forward like that. And oh jeez, what's going on over here?
Pushed out of the ring.
Ichinojo just like has to not step forward, and it's a much closer win, or a much better looking win for him. But like at this point, Takakeisho is completely like gone. Look at him. He is flying. Fly away from here. He's gonzo. Ichinojo has the push out, and he does step kind of at the same time, but I mean that's just your forward momentum. But again, going back to that hair pull, the match is completely different if the hair isn't pulled, and because Ichinojo did pull the hair, that's the disqualification, and yet another win for Takakeisho, which anything could have happened. If he doesn't pull the hair, does the same thing happen where Takakeisho simply leans forward instead of getting enough distance to like take a step and charge and getting a good push, or does he still get caught? Or, you know, too many variables, too many what ifs, and all we really know is that hair was pulled. Takakeisho gets the win. This is the battle between two Sekiwake, which was pretty fantastic, but we're not covering that right now. We have Takakeisho versus Whole Shoryu. Takakeisho versus the resident nephew. Takakeisho does what he usually does, creates distance, uses that left hand as a club again to get Whole Shoryu off balance, pushing forward like he usually does, now going for the pull like he did against Wakataka Kage, and then getting the kill shot with a push out. So like this match, we've said it the previous many matches, we'll do it again. Elbows down and inside. He's not exactly driving one of these legs forward. They're both kind of planted back there. So Whole Shoryu, I mean, look at his stance. Whole Shoryu is stanced up right now. He's got that first leg down and planted. He's got that back leg down and planted. And he has the inside on Takakeisho's chest. So this is already a fantastic base for him. But Takakeisho, his inside was on the right. He pushes Whole Shoryu up, and that forces Whole Shoryu to take a little bit of a step back with that right foot, and that gives Takakeisho an opportunity to, you can see, right hand on the forearm here, slaps down and away the hand. So now look at this distance between himself and Whole Shoryu. He wants to go straight for the push. So from here, he does lean forward. He puts elbow to elbow, forearm to forearm right there. And I would still say Whole Shoryu has a much better position, because look at his legs versus Takakeisho's legs. Takakeisho is kind of just leaning into this, whereas Whole Shoryu, he's trying to drive, but Takakeisho does what he did against Kiribayama. He hops to the side and goes for the around the back slap down. And this is what I said would have happened if Kiribayama didn't hit his hands on the ground. Whole Shoryu stumbles back and away, and now Takakeisho, he has his eyes on the enemy's back. He's ready to charge again. He was kind of cautious in his charge, though. He kind of shuffles forward instead of going all out, because, and this is something that you notice against Terunofuji as well, he doesn't want to overcommit to a charge because he doesn't want to get, you know, flung out of the ring. So instead he shuffles forward and decides to maintain this better position, where again we see left hand inside up underneath the armpit. Whole Shoryu is now on the retreat, which lets Takakeisho, he drives forward, that left foot planted, right foot walking it forward. He has better footing now to Whole Shoryu, who is on the edge, and like we saw against Wakataka Kage, he has his man on the edge. Whole Shoryu is leaning very far forward. Like we can see, his body is kind of leaned like this. So it's not like he's leaning forward and forcing himself down. He's leaning upwards and forcing himself forward. That way, if he does, or that way if Takakeisho does take the step back, then Whole Shoryu has enough time to be able to put a foot in front of him instead of just falling down. And that's exactly what happens, as well as Whole Shoryu having a tight grip on the belt. Noticing this, Takakeisho, you could see left arm around the arm, and he goes for the throw from here. He throws whole shoulder around the arm, and you could see he's in the process of twisting his hips to get this throw. He has this right foot pivot. He's driving this left foot, and he wants to move it this way. These hips are pivoting, and you can see his shoulders are already in the motion. He wants to swing his entire body around this way so he can throw a whole shoulder, who is relatively off balance. You can see this. He's trying to plant this right foot. This left foot is kind of dangling, and all of his leverage is in this piece of the belt. If he can hold on to the belt, he can survive for a little bit longer because he's able to pull himself back in. You see he's hopping on that left foot in the back, pulls himself, wrangles himself back in enough to be able to get his right foot back down on the ground, and immediately, split second, he has that leg back. He's using it to maintain balance right up against the Tawada right here. This right knee driving forward. Takakeisho on the follow-up after the throw. You can see he has this right hand right to the chest of whole shoulder to pop him right back up. And that's the push and the pull of the match. He went from being stood up over here, like on the ropes, to being pulled all the way around the ring. Now that he's being pulled, he's getting pushed back up and out. And you can see right there, another split second, whole shoulder. He didn't have this left leg was not stable enough to really generate force to counteract Takakeisho's push. Takakeisho follows through on the throw, goes for the chest, goes for the neck. Takakeisho in full control right here. The only thing that whole shoulder could possibly do is go for a miracle throw, but that inside right is not doing much for him, and this inside left is, I mean, if this were outside, he'd maybe try to be able to club Takakeisho in the same way, but nothing doing. Takakeisho chokes him out of the ring,
Steps backwards and out of the ring,
and gets his 9th win. So, even though a lot of these matches have been pretty quick, we've seen a decent amount of variety in terms of what Takakeisho can do. Day 10. It's Takayasu Shodai. This is
joke.
Meisei Takakeisho.
Powers training for the better. But
So let's see what happens here. Meisei versus Takakeisho.
Fruits of that kind of labor. But for now, Takakeisho versus Meisei.
Takakeisho has the same lead up, the same follow up.
Takakeisho not gonna get slapped down.
He is in a little bit of danger at the edge here, but he does get the slap down.
First, it is called for Meisei.
Meisei gets the call at first, but there's a mono-e that does call it for Takakeisho. But this match is a case of, even in the Oshi versus Oshi, we see Takakeisho does have a weakness here. Because we could see he drives this left foot forward, insides, gets up and inside the arms of Meisei. Meisei meeting him hand to hand, hands to the face. And now Meisei, he replants his legs. This left foot is now forward, the right leg is back. Whereas now Takakeisho, who did put his left foot forward, he's not driving. He's not trying to walk it forward. So now Takakeisho going for Tsupari to the chest. Meisei answering it in kind. Goes for the headbutt, and this is where I think Meisei is not in a good position because of those feet. He tries to drive with that right foot, but he gets popped up and back. So now he's on the retreat. Takakeisho driving forward with these legs. And this is a really good idea from Meisei, who wraps this left arm up and over the back of Takakeisho, which kind of exposes his chest here. But because of the way his right arm is positioned right underneath the armpit of Takakeisho, he's able to generate enough momentum to send Takakeisho where he wants him to go. So now we'll see Takakeisho, instead of charging into the open chest right here, he's going to go like flying this way through his opponent because he's going to kind of whiff, which is not exactly what happens because he does hop forward, maintains his footing, and we could see it again right here. Hops forward because he hopped here, and then he hopped again here and maintains his footing, and now he's leaned over and kind of primed to charge the chest of Meisei again.
Going for a slap.
But this is where Meisei kind of continues the ring around the rosy. He is on the retreat, and he wants to recenter himself. So now Meisei, he puts hand to the chest so he can create some separation. Thank you so much for the gift sub to a very old eraser, the one who bounces. I appreciate that. That'll help me pay rent next month. But anyway, Meisei, he wants to generate the distance again. And this time he's in the middle of the ring, so now he has a lot more room to drive. And that's kind of exactly how he does it too. You see he starts getting those windmills in. He starts, you know, he had the left hand up here, and now he pulls it back. And as he's pulling it back, he strikes with the right one. And then he's going to pull that back, and he's going to keep trying to do this windmill while Takakeisho, his arms hit nothing. His arms are hitting air. His legs are straight. His body is straight. He is being popped up, and he can't do anything right now. So Meisei, seeing this, goes for the charge, and Takakeisho has a very, once again, a timely retreat. A very good retreat for Takakeisho, who slaps the arms down, which kind of throws Meisei off balance, because you could see he slapped the arm down and away, which does pull Meisei's balance this way. And now it's a little dangerous for both men. Takakeisho needs to be able to retreat back to the center or to the edge of the ring away from the attack, whereas Meisei needs to regain his footing, which if you see how well his right foot is planted over here, he can easily pivot on that, swing his hips around, plant that left foot, and then drive from there.
Slaps down.
Which is exactly what he does. Planted that left foot. Now he's in the driver's seat again. Takakeisho going for a slap down at the edge, and you could see he's reeling. He's on the retreat, but he's generating a lot of downward force for this slap down. He is putting, his shoulders are over Meisei's shoulders, so he's just leaning on Meisei to try to slap him down. But Meisei is still driving forward. He has this left foot back. He's got this right foot planted and moving forward. So he is generating a lot of power as well. And here at the edge, it was a very close call, but Takakeisho leaps up as he gets the slap down. And I don't know why it froze like that. And this is like the real first time we see some weakness from Takakeisho in this tournament too. Against Ichinojo, again, we can justify like his close loss was due to the fact that Ichinojo could grab the belt after the follow-up of the hair pull. But here, Takakeisho, he was slapped off balance in the same way that he slaps other people off balance. So if an Oshi Zumo man wants to find out what to do against Takakeisho, this is one of the matches he would want to watch. The step to the side, not the step back. You want to step to the side and slap down at the back, and then try to throw him off balance from there in the same way that he would want to do it to you. Moving into day 11 now.
So terribly compared to the last tournament.
See Kitty Bayama doing terrible. Takakeisho walking down the tunnel. That is our man. We have Endo versus Takakeisho here on day 10. Left foot forward, driving. Endo matching fire with fire, but he can't grab the belt, and that was something I called the day of too. Endo keeps scooping for the belt, and by the time he does finally grab it, it's already too late. Oh wait, no, Takakeisho did take the loss yesterday. I thought it went the other way. That's my bad. So it was 12-3 for Takakeisho.
That's my mistake. I said he went 13-2 earlier. Man, this tournament only happened last week, and I'm already forgetting the shit that happened. Yeah, this was a pretty good recovery from Takakeisho. Look at all my emotes. And again, we can see same old, Takakeisho. Left foot forward, elbows down and in on the shoulders, driving. He does hit a bit of a road bump here against Endo, who manages to put his right foot down and try to drive forward. But he gets stumbled back. He's still got those hips square. He's still, you know, got those knees bent. He's trying to push forward. And you could see this happens several times through this match. Endo tries to reach down for a grip on the belt, and he misses it every single time, which is exactly how Ichinojo won, or would have won, is getting a grip on the belt. You can see he slaps it, and Takakeisho, he bounces himself backwards while getting the push. Endo coming back in, left hand up to try to distract Takakeisho, going for the shoulder. Follows up with Tsupari to the chest, and then follows up going low again. And Takakeisho sees it, snuffs it out. You can see already Endo going low, Takakeisho ready to block. He says, no, you're not going to go for that. I'm going to make sure that gets pushed away. And that's exactly what he does. He pushes at that left shoulder and keeps Endo away from his belt. And he does it again. Elbow in, hand on the left shoulder. Endo misses the belt, slides up the body, hand on the left shoulder, or left hand on the shoulder, pushed very far away. Takakeisho again. Now Endo finally grabs the belt, but at this point, he has no room between himself and the Tawada. Whereas if he had grabbed it in the middle of the ring, he has a chance of winning. Endo taking the step back. And once again, at this point, it's too little too late. If he had grabbed the belt in the middle of the ring, he might have stood a better chance. But really good, again, defensive Oshizumo from Takakeisho to block the attempts at the belt. Very well done by Takakeisho. Let's see, this day, day 12, Takakeisho versus Takayasu. And this is another match. Again, Takayasu likes to grab the belt, and if he grabs the belt, Takakeisho will lose. So what happens in this match in particular? Takakeisho creates distance, goes for a slap to the face. Takayasu slips around, and Takakeisho gets the better follow-up. So what happens here is that, again, Takakeisho, he's actually a little slow on the follow-up for his own Tsupari. So you can see he goes inside, and Takayasu really leans hard into him. So now Takakeisho can't create the distance that he's comfortable enough making. He actually gets his right arm grabbed by Takayasu here. So we can see it wraps up and around this little T-Rex arm, which is not where Takakeisho wants to be. So he pushes back, takes the step back, and now he's kind of not in a good position. But this is where he goes for the slap to the face and follows up with another thrust to the chest. It's not a very strong thrust to the chest, but the slap in the face is meant to, you know, disorient your opponent. And that's kind of what he does here, because now Takayasu tries to block the charge here, which he does. Takayasu puts both of his forearms inside, like this, so he can try to lift the arms up of, this looks like a little smiley face with cute little eyebrows. He tries to lift the arms up of Takakeisho so he can get inside, but here he takes a step back, and this right foot slips a little too far back, probably, so he comes forward. Or let's watch that a little bit again to see if there was a Takakeisho pull, but it's not the best angle that we have.
Takayasu doesn't grab the belt. Ooh, big slam.
But we'll see it like right here. Yeah, I think what happens there is Takayasu, he went for a slap, and then instead of hitting, he just kept going. And that, you know, turns his shoulders all the way around. Takakeisho, I'm not sure if he was purposefully far enough away or if Takayasu simply just missed and messed up. But if anything about this tournament is true, it's that Takayasu performed really badly, and I might chalk this up more to a Takayasu error than anything else. So, I mean, it's still a good win for Takakeisho. He has very good follow-up afterwards. You can see that his, he just pushes forward right under the armpit, and his follow-up is very good too. Legs planted, driving forward, getting the push out, and that is classic Takakeisho to get the push out like that.
Slap rocked Takayasu way off balance, if that was anything. Good win for Takakeisho to stay in the race. He will be fighting fellow man at 10-1 Abi tomorrow.
Day 13. This is where he loses.
Joke.
Or this is where he fights Abi. So Abi, his style of Oshizumo is not like a separate, make distance, and follow up with an additional charge. He just goes for windmill after windmill. And we'll see it here. Abi with very long legs and very long arms.
Oh.
Amata. Apparently, Takakeisho was over the line.
Takakeisho. That's an old and archaic rule that like is only carried on in terms of like he carries the sword as a prop. Here we go. Let's try it again. Abi and Takakeisho.
Takakeisho puts the left foot forward, but he can't drive with it because Abi is leaning too far forward. And when Takakeisho is on the retreat, it is not good for him, just in general. Hello, Akius. Saw the rainbow mask in the crowd. So, like I have been saying, once again, it's his usual Tachi-ai. Left leg leads. Elbows down, but this time his arm is like way too far outside. Usually he has his arms like, usually he has his elbow down more and the arms in closer to the chest, but this time his arms are way too far outside, I think. He leaves his chest a little too wide open for attack, which is exactly what Abi wants. And we'll go over this match again from Abi's perspective tomorrow. I was going to say on Friday, but that's tomorrow's stream. And we could see Takakeisho can't generate anything. He's not driving his legs the same way Abi is. You see, Abi is the one that's pumping the legs, pumping the knees, and he is trying to, you know, push these up so he can push forward, whereas Takakeisho, his legs are planted and he's simply not moving. And he's trying to generate powered by leaning forward and going for thrusts to the face, whereas Abi, he uses his entire body to try to generate that force. And not in the same way that Takakeisho does, where Takakeisho will headbutt motherfuckers, but Abi, he leans forward, he drives these legs over and over again, and he tries to generate power from his legs while using his arms to disrupt his opponents. Takakeisho, he's kind of caught out of control here. He never really has full control at any point in this match, and it's mostly because Abi is so assaulting the face so hard that Takakeisho, again, his legs aren't moving, his arms aren't moving, he has no idea what to do. Abi is now driving forward, and he's, you know, you can see this hand blurred out behind him. He's about ready to follow up with it, and we can actually see Abi kind of, it looks like his knee buckles, but I think that's part of his strategy. Like, you can see that left foot now planted, this right foot driving forward. Takakeisho still standing, he's just standing there. Menacingly! Get out of there, SpongeBob! But Takakeisho's standing here menacingly. And now Abi finally gets a good enough push that pushes Takakeisho backwards. And this is where Takakeisho struggles. We've seen him on the offense, when he's pushing forward, he's perfectly fine. But when he is on the retreat, he is not fine. And now he has to try to use anything in his weaponry to regain control here. He tries to go for the left-hand club on the back, but Abi plants the foot and immediately looks straight at Takakeisho and charges again. And instead of like leaning all the way into him, Abi puts his forearm and his hand on the chest and uses that for a lot of momentum. Forearm to the chest, hand to the face. Takakeisho reeling. He has no idea how to stop this attack, which if he did what he usually does, which is try to slap the hands down or slap the hands up away from his face, then he would be able to throw Abi off balance instead of him getting thrown off balance. But he never has the opportunity to because Abi is just so quick on his attack. His follow-up is very quick too. Takakeisho, by the time he finally mounts a little bit of defense, it's already too late. And even if Takakeisho survived this, Abi plants the leg and he's already on the follow-up. Like, he doesn't even know his man lost. He's looking right down at the feet anyway, and he's like, okay, all right, I'm good now. I won. But look at this. He's already leg planted, right foot forward. He's driving forward. And then it's at this moment he's like, oh, okay. So, like, overall, this just shows another one of Takakeisho's weaknesses, not the, just grab the belt and win. But if you can generate enough force and if you don't let him use his defensive Oshizumo against you, then there is no chance for him. And we saw it against Meisei, who Meisei drove forward, had him on the ropes. Abi drove forward. Abi did have it all covered. I think Abi is going to fly very high up to Banzuke, and I can't wait to see it. Day 14 is against Shodai.
Number 2 and number 3.
Shodai versus Takakeisho, both of the Ozeki going head-to-head.
Takakeisho with a good charge forward. Shodai catching him, can't grab the belt. Shodai at the edge.
And that is just easy Takakeisho win. Not really much to say about that one. Does what he usually does. Usual Takakeisho. Takakeisho in form. Left foot forward. He left hand down inside. And it's kind of unusual that he doesn't go high up for Tsuppari, but instead he scoops low, which if I remember correctly, a commentator was mentioning that. I read this in the Sumo Discord, so I might be misremembering, but a commentator basically said he has a Yotsuzumo Tachi-ai, and Yotsuzumo Tachi-ai is, you try to go low and grab the belt, whereas he goes low and disrupts his opponent's attempt at grabbing the belt. So it's kind of like an anti-Yotsuzumo Tachi-ai, which is an interesting thing to think about. But for the most part, it works for him because now he went low with this arm. He grabs Shodai's left forearm, which forces Shodai to go outside with it, and that just gives Takakeisho the leverage he needs on the inside. Shodai actually tries to pull Takakeisho in here, and we can see that arm wrapped around here, and he's trying to pull Takakeisho in so that he can get a grip on the belt. But Takakeisho, wise to that, does his best to push Shodai away, and Shodai, he doesn't usually move forward on his Tachi-ai. He usually moves backwards, and that's exactly, the sin that happens here. He moves backwards, and that gives Takakeisho the room to recharge, hands to the chest. Shodai trying to grab from around the outside, but Takakeisho plants both legs, drives forward again, and Shodai just lets himself get pushed out. Not too much to say about that one. Just another quick and easy fight from Takakeisho. Goes 12-3 at the end of this because, spoiler alert, he loses to Terunofuji.
Night for a family of 4. Terunofuji having a team.
There we go.
Terunofuji versus.
And I mentioned this in the Terunofuji video, but Takakeisho is very, like, I think he's afraid to charge Teruno Fuji in this match. He's very afraid to overcommit to a charge and get sidestepped. So, like, this Tachi, he gets his usual charge, you know, inside, hands inside. But this time, his right foot is forward. That might have thrown him off a little bit. Or it could be Yaocho. He's signaling he's going to lose on purpose by putting his right foot forward instead of his left. Oh my god. This is a joke, by the way. But Takakeisho leads with his right foot this time. And Teruno Fuji, you know, simply pushes him back. Takakeisho now reeling. And like I kept on saying, we know when he's walking backwards, that's a very bad sign for him. But distance is created. Takakeisho gets another good strong charge, elbow down and in. Now he's leading with the left foot. Gets a hand up to the chest of Teruno Fuji, but Teruno Fuji withstanding it. He is the one now that gets the arm underneath and pushes Takakeisho's arm aside. Takakeisho still trying to drive forward, but Teruno Fuji, you know, he kind of shuffles forward instead, and he's doing the defensive Oshizumo that keeps Takakeisho at bay. Takakeisho goes for the arm slap down, and then this happened earlier in the tournament. He goes for the arm slap down and then uses the momentum to bounce back up and charge into Teruno Fuji, but it's a good charge for him. I said but this is actually a really good charge for Takakeisho. The follow-up afterwards, though. Ah, jeez. Sorry about that. That's just VLC being VLC. I can't really do anything about that. Takakeisho gets the good charge there. Teruno Fuji at the edge. And I think this is where Takakeisho messed up, because if Takakeisho committed harder to this charge, he would have been able to go for a push out, I think. But he kind of shuffles forward and then goes for forearm to the chest, hand to the neck, which Teruno Fuji is easily shrugging off. And now Takakeisho, he doesn't even attempt to pull here either, because we saw what happened the other day where Abi attempted the Katasakashi and Teruno Fuji simply did not get moved by it. So Takakeisho doesn't go for the pull off of the edge either to try to take advantage of the momentum, because we can see Teruno Fuji, legs planted, he's very leaning far forward. You could see his shoulders are nowhere near above his hips. He is down and ready for this. His legs are planted. He's not getting slapped down. He is not getting pulled. He is not moving. So now Takakeisho bounces off of him, and here he has another very flaccid charge. Takakeisho, like you can see, he hops down and then just leans into Teruno Fuji instead of committing to a full charge like he usually would. He's just putting hands to the chest instead of really going for hard supari, hard charges. He's bouncing back again. He tries to use the right hand this time to slap Teruno Fuji to the side, get to the side of Teruno Fuji, but his follow-up is very sluggish. Takakeisho's follow-up, he doesn't get a very strong charge. Usually he would follow up, he would try to push you from the side and just knock you off balance, but he's very gingerly in his approach here. He just walks up. He puts his left hand up underneath the chin because, you know, we could see the head over here is being popped up, and we can assume that Takakeisho is putting his hand up underneath the chin to try to force Teruno Fuji back. But this right hand isn't really doing much of anything. It's just trying to control Teruno Fuji's left hand, which is now down near the belt that he's trying to grab for, which he doesn't even need to grab the belt because he starts to give Takakeisho a bear hug. And at this point, Takakeisho getting hugged is like, ew, no, I don't want a hug from you. So he tries to pull away, going for the slap down. And instead, he gets pushed out at the edge, which, again, I'm sorry for the artifacting, but we could watch it again at full speed here. Takakeisho going for a slap down, but left leg planted. He's not letting himself get slapped down. You see he's already popping right back up. And Takakeisho, I feel like he might have been able to try to recover from here, because Teruno Fuji's follow-up from this point is really non-existent. Like, if Takakeisho could have stepped back like along the Tawada and somehow managed to get himself back in the ring, the fight could have kept going. Teruno Fuji, though, he does stabilize at the edge here with his back to the ring. So, I mean, I don't think, like, we can go back again. I don't think Takakeisho could have, because his momentum was just going so far back. He was getting pushed while he was pulling. Like, you can see, he's getting pushed while he's going for a pull. So his momentum was going straight back. There's no way he could have really changed his own momentum. And unfortunately for him, he just hops out of the ring. So that was all 15 days of Takakeisho, and the conclusions we can really gather from this is that he performed well, but if he comes across a roadblock that gives him a little bit of resistance, he struggles. And then when he struggles, it's 50-50 on whether or not he's going to win. And if his belt gets grabbed, then it's like almost 100% he's going to lose. So if you want to beat Takakeisho, you either A, grab his belt, or B, thank you for the follow, language ER, or B, what you want to do is you want to be the one driving. You want to go for his throat, but you have to be careful for his defensive Oshizumo, because we saw over and over again, he would drive his elbows down low and pop the arms up so he can charge with his head, basically. He uses his own arms defensively while he charges forward with his body and head to get the most leverage he can. And that usually gives him enough of a push to get the win, but if it doesn't get him the win, then he's in a little bit of trouble. But that is it for Takakeisho. If you're watching this on YouTube, please be sure to follow my Twitch channel, where I will be doing more sumo content and, you know, more fight breakdowns, and I will be covering the upcoming sumo tournament in January. If you're watching this on Twitch, please go follow my YouTube, where I will be posting the VOD of this later. Tomorrow is going to be breaking down Abi's fights, which, if it's anything like Takakeisho here, a lot of these matches are going to look pretty much the same, and the only real variation is dependent on him, really, because in Oshizumo, you're mostly the one driving, whereas in Yotsuzumo, you're the one who, you know, wants to control the belt, and it's a very technical bout where, you know, a lot is going on between both men. So look forward to that, and thank you all for watching.